the Jeep WJ Grand Cherokee in Australia. The Jeep Grand Cherokee was released in 1993 in the US, but not until 1996 in Australia, originally as a replacement for the XJ Cherokee, but due to the XJ still selling very well, they decided to release the new model ZJ alongside the XJ. The ZJ was never as popular as the XJ in Australia, and was replaced with the WJ in 1999, 1 year after the US got it in 1998. Like the ZJ, the WJ had solid front and rear diffs with coil springs all round. Although most of the Jeep WJs were built in America, the Australian market models, along with some other models destined to go to other markets, were built in Graz, Austria. And these Australian production models are technically called the WG rather than the WJ. In Australia, the WJ could be had with either the legendary 4-litre AMC straight 6 making 140 kilowatt and 295 Nm of torque, now with coil packs rather than a distributor, and was bolted to a 4-speed 4.2RE automatic trans, or the 4.7-litre V8 making 162 kilowatt and 390 Nm of torque, which was bolted up to a 4 or 5-speed automatic trans. This transmission, the 4.5RFE and later the 5.45RFE, had the ability to be programmed as a 6-speed, but Jeep decided to program it only to be a 4-speed and later a 5-speed past 2001. There was also a diesel option, which used the Mercedes OM612, which was a 2.7-litre 5-cylinder common rail turbo diesel with a bulletproof reputation, making 120 kilowatt and 400 Nm of torque, which was more torque than the V8. These were only sold in a select few countries, including Australia and New Zealand, and were never sold in the US. They were bolted up to a 5-speed automatic. The Jeep WJ was fitted with either the Quadra-Trac 2 or the Quadra-Drive 2 four-wheel drive systems. Both of these are full-time four-wheel drive systems with a low range and a neutral for flat towing. The Quadra-Trac 2 system, which this Jeep has fitted to it, has a limited slip center differential in the transfer case that works in a similar way to an LSD rear end. When either the front or rear tail shaft starts spinning at a faster rate than the other, it will lock up, spreading torque at a 50-50 split to the front and the rear. The Quadra-Trac 2 system also has a traction control system which applies brakes to any wheels which are spinning at a significantly faster speed than the others. So it is in theory possible to drive a Quadra-Trac 2 Jeep with only one wheel on the ground. The other four-wheel drive system used in a Jeep WJ is the Quadra-Drive 2 system, which used the same limited slip center diff and NV247 transfer case as the Quadra-Trac, but instead of having electronic traction control system, it has LSDs in both the front and rear, meaning all three diffs in the Jeep were LSDs. This system is a lot better for off-road use than the Quadra-Trac, locking the axles rather than just braking the wheels with no traction. The WJ was available in 3 different trim levels in Australia. The base, which was the Laredo, which I might be pronouncing wrong, which this one is, and also the Limited and the Overland. Although the Laredo was the base, it was still pretty highly spec'd, coming standard with features like a 6-stacker CD cassette player, ABS, cruise control, electric windows all round, heated mirrors and 16-inch alloy wheels. The Limited didn't get too many extras over the Laredo. It got a full leather interior with a wood grain dash, fog lamps, climate control, 17-inch alloy wheels and a body coloured grille, as compared to the chrome one which the Laredo had, which is interesting that the highest spec model had less chrome than the base. Only the V8 or the diesel models were available as limiteds. The Overland didn't have many extra features when compared to the Limited. It got different alloy wheels, badging and a body coloured grille with chrome inserts. From factory, all Jeep WJs came out as 5-door station wagons. However, this Jeep has been chopped into a dual cab ute, as it was previously used on a farm and carried a firefighting unit around. It would be very hard to get a Jeep or any unibody car modified in this way ever legally on the road again due to overly harsh government regulations on modified cars in Western Australia. So this Jeep is destined to spend the rest of its life off the road, unfortunately. The Jeep WJ seemed to sell better than the ZJ they replaced, but were never as popular as the XJ. And the XJ is still the Cherokee of choice for four-wheel drivers in Australia due to being lighter, simpler and easier to modify. Also arguably a lot better looking, but I do have a very biased opinion after owning a few XJs. WJs were sold up until 2005 when they were later replaced by the WK Grand Cherokee. You can still find a fair few WJs on the road these days in Australia, and as far as a four-wheel drive goes, they're one of the best ones you can pick up, and you can still get them pretty cheap for only a few grand.